And welcome back to another OMNIHEROES video. In this video, we're going to do a unit review for Doris. Now, Doris was not a unit I picked up quickly. Primarily, when I first started, she was a brand new unit, and now has become reasonably essential if you do want to run a Doomsdayer team. So we're just going to go over a couple of things with Doris. The first being her synergies. So Doomsdayer's synergy. Really, Doomsdayers can only be effective if you have 5 Doomsdayers in total. You can mix and match, which can get you through certain stages in events. But again, they are pretty much a pay-to-win team for me, anyway. I've never really invested a lot into them, just because the amount that you need to invest compared to other teams like Glorians or Ethereals is quite substantial. So the Doomsdayer's mechanic: each time an enemy unit takes action, they take damage equal to allied team reflect rate times the allied team attack rate. The allies team attack, which is 12%. Each time an ally unit takes damage, there is a 50% chance to restore own HP equal to 30% of the damage taken. So quite effective, a good healing mechanic. But as General Fear mentioned in his breakdown of the Doomsdayer's synergy, you do need your Doomsdayers to be quite chunky or chunky. So the next synergy is Verdant. I've already gone over the Verdant synergy in the Nawi video. When ally unit takes action, there's a 30% chance to start a sync attack. Sync attacks deal 200% basic attack damage. So it's reasonably there's a good chance that will proc on each Doomsdayer, and if you have 5 of them in the team, it's going to be much more effective. There are a couple of strong units, Nawi, Leah, Lily and Leah, and Doris herself as well in that synergy. So the final one, Strikers. Again, I'm going to say this over and over again. Strikers, I would say, is the second best synergy besides Monarch. So Monarch being the first. Increases attack of all allies by 35% every round. It's a very big boost, 35% every round. So yeah, very good. Don't need to say too much more on that. Now I'm going to get into her passives here. Now I only have my Doris at 11 stars here. So her final passive, every 1% increase in reflect rate additionally increases attack by 1%, leans in very well with the striker synergy if you can get that unlocked. But typically on the Dooms team, you don't have another striker or a very good striker to pair up with her. But if you do get her to the 11 stars, in this case the 9 stars, Doris's reflect rate additionally increases by 25%. It's pretty essential. So you do need quite a high level Doris to get that. The first, her ultimate, Doris summons oceanic beings to attack the enemies, dealing up to 375 magic damage, and grants 2 stacks of reflect boost to herself and allies in the same line. And can stack up to 5 times by default. The second attack that she will do, summons a torrent to attack the backline enemies, dealing up to 135% magic damage, and grants 2 stacks of reflect boost to herself and allies in the same line. So by the end of round 3, you will have pretty much a full reflect rate. Or 5 stacks of reflect rate on the backline of your team just from Doris herself. Her passive: each time Doris takes an action, when the total reflect rate of the ally team is greater than 100%, there's a 50% chance to apply Vital Drain on all enemies for 1 round. So Vital Drain is the healing received during the effect will be transferred to the buff caster instead, which in this case would be Doris. If you do get it up to level 11, as I've done, every 1% in Doris's reflect rate additionally increases her attack by 1%. So you would be getting a total of 3% attack rate, and it doesn't seem a lot, but if you get her her reflect rate up, say by 100%, it's a 300% damage buff, and if you have a striker synergy going with her, it will be increased every round. So it can work in a good combination. The final one, Doris's reflect rate additionally increases by 25%. Now, the reason that I'm focusing on Doris at the moment for the Dooms and the most essential unit within the Dooms team themselves is her runes. But I'll go into talents first. Just quickly summarise. So it increases reflect rate by 15% and control resistance rate by 15%. These are the epic talents here, these two. And then the final one, the legendary talents, they increase by 30% respectively for both of those stats. So as we mentioned before, that increase of 3% per increase in reflect rate, this will give you a 90% attack buff or attack boost, and it'll all work in combination. So the runes for Doris, as you can see here, I have had to prioritise Doris's runes, and the reason that I've been able to get all reflect is because of the purify here. So as soon as I got a reflect rune in the purify section down here, I've locked it up, and then I continued to use the stones here, or the purification currency, to get all of the epic factors in here. So the runes themselves, when Doris is deployed, the reflect damage of Doomsdayers is increased by 50%, and there's a 33% chance of dealing additional reflect damage when the enemy takes action. So typically the way that Dooms works is that they will deal damage, and in response your team will deal damage. With Doris out, when she's deployed, she increases reflect damage and also 33% chance of dealing additional reflect damage when an enemy takes an action. So as soon as the enemy moves before they've done damage, that's when the additional reflect damage will kick in. So before they attack, they're dealt damage, which is why you've seen a lot of, or you may have seen a lot of videos about Doomsdayers fighting PvP, where the enemies will just drop before they can land an attack. That would typically be this red rune here. So when Doris is deployed, the reflect damage of Doomsdayers is increased by 100%. There's a 100% chance of dealing additional reflect damage. So when people say, or when I've heard the community say the red runes are required for Doris, that is why, because it takes out the risk factor that an enemy will deal damage to themselves before they attack. So at the moment, for me, there's a 33% chance, and because I'm poor and I don't have enough legendary runes, nor does anybody, OMNIHEROES, if you're watching, I would just like to say, please increase the drop rate from 20% up to, say, 30 or 40%. It would just help tremendously. So yeah, there's 100% chance of dealing additional reflect. So it takes out the chance that it won't happen, and it definitely will happen, which increases her damage drastically. So with that all being said, that is a basic breakdown of all of the different kit that Doris has, and let's move on to some games. So we're just going to build a bog standard Dooms team. Bear with me. Sorry about that, I had to cough. So a bog standard Dooms team would look something... these are effectively the essential units. Helios is effectively free to play, as is Doris, which is why I'm covering her. So just before we do, I'm just going to show you where to buy Doris from, if you haven't already. So we go into your guild shop, if you're not part of a guild, please join up with a guild. Start grinding. It's so important that you are involved with a guild, because the power increase is exponential if you stick with a guild. So Doris is easily available here, as you can see up here. I've not got enough points to buy her because I have been purchasing the newer units, Christine and Astrid. I would say prioritise these units until you receive a copy, at least of Astrid, and then you can save if you want. I didn't with the previous season's units, and then I got stuck with 30 copies or 30 shards for Elmer on the previous one. You are able to buy copies of them during the treasure hunt event, but again, you will only receive one copy. But Doris here, readily available, refreshes every month or so, so definitely keep picking up copies of Doris. You can also go for Hall of Heroes summons, synergy summons, and if you switch it up, Doris is available in the Doomsdayers synergy here. So if you did really want to invest in Doomsdayers, best to go through the synergy summon there. So we were in Lost City. There we go, Doomsdayers. Let's take these out. And let's build a bog standard team. So Halios and Doris, both readily available in the guild shop if you do participate enough. Again, spending 100 diamonds to 300 diamonds to contribute towards your guild, you get 100 back, and you will get so much more from the chests, so much more from the Grey Shroom realm. I would suggest that you purchase as many attempts in the Grey Shroom realm as possible, just to get as many challenges in, so you can get that valuable currency, increase your guild's effectiveness, and then take it from there. So we will add in, I'm going to add in new hero, Madeline. I've not really tried Madeline out too much. I've seen her increase effectiveness of the Doomsdayers team, so I'm going to include her. Now, it may just be part of the Royal synergy that I've got going between Lamia, Halios, Madeline, and Ethusia here. So let's see how this one goes. We'll stick in sword, shield, and the scales as well for a bit of extra healing. And I think, yeah, that's as good as we're going to get it. So let's see how this goes. So you've got the demonic synergy there, and you've got the divine synergy working between all of the units. Hopefully we'll see when Doris takes an action, we'll see that vital drain be applied. Yep, so we can see that reflect rate before they do the damage, and then the damage is done once again as well. So enemies are doing a fair amount of damage. We'll see 2 confuses there, and we will see a miss from Lamia. Removing reflect rate as well, something you've got to be careful about. So an increase in reflect rate from the dragon here. And then decrease in reflect rate, a miss again. Sanctuary triggered, but we'll see the increase in reflect rate for that back line. We'll see the healing here as well. So we should see this be a relatively clean victory, I think. We'll get a shield buff for the 2 units at the front, little dragon there, and that's from Madeline down at the bottom. See an increase in reflect rate, another increase in reflect rate, and then we can see them drop because we're getting that 33% chance. If you do have the red runes, or you have the capacity to get those red runes, I would definitely suggest that you do get those red runes for her. It's really important, and you should prioritise those at all costs, typically, unless you have a copy of Eudora, but again, that's a subject that I personally won't be covering because I have no experience in that area, so I don't want to lead you guys astray. So that's a clean victory, under 5 rounds. Seems to have worked out very nicely, so we will try a different team. In fact, we'll go on the strikers build and we'll see how well she functions without all of the increased reflect rates. So we'll build a pretty bog standard strikers team here. I would say we'll go with Nawi over Celine because of the verdant synergy. We'll add in Seraphina and Catherine as well. Think we might change Atrops round with Nawi here. I'm going to stick Nawi in the front, just primarily because she's doing the most damage to Talinas here. And then, because we've got no immediate synergy, we want as much attack increase as possible. So we'll leave it like this for now. If worse comes to worse, we'll try a different build. But we'll see how effective Doris is without the Strikers synergy and just the... without the Doomsdayer's synergy and with just the Strikers synergy. So this is 5 Strikers. So we're getting an increase of attack of 35% per round. Effectively no other buffs, just primarily because there's no synergies. You've got a Doomsdayer, you've got a Glorium, a Valinator, a Mystifier. I guess we've got 2 Glorians here, so we won't get any additional buffs, unfortunately. So you see she's reasonably tanky compared to others, specifically Seraphina, but I've always noticed Seraphina has been quite a glass cannon. She only does massive heals. Looks like Doris did get a kill. It was one of our own. She was taken out very quickly, just by a relatively low attack as well. This is not a super optimal team, but it is just for a showcase of how well she will do without that synergy. And it doesn't look like she's doing very well at all. So she is primarily built for a Doomsdayer's team. I think the other 3 units here, the Atrops, Catherine and Nawi, will carry us through this event. We won't get the win because we don't have 5 allies alive. But again, it's neither here nor there. This is a showcase to show off how impressive Doris is, and she's not done too well here. She did do 5%, but again, Nawi is she is top notch. So we will go into a Verdant synergy here, and we'll see how well she does in the Verdant synergy. Now, we are able to run a Dooms team with Verdant synergy here. So we'll choose Merlin and Sylvan here. We'll change Nawi up, and then we will change out Atrops for Lily and Leah here as well. And in fact, I'm going to switch these 2 round. Sylvan's going to do massive amounts of damage to these guys. So we do have the Dooms team up, but it is only 3 out of the 5, so not as effective as it could be. We're really relying on these basic attacks to do any sort of damage to the enemy. We do have the Striker synergy still active between Nawi and Doris here, and then Lily and Leah with their exclusive. They will increase defense every time a Verdant synergy is activated. You see all the physical and magical defense going up. It's very useful, but again, I don't think it's going to be too effective in this run, just because we're up against a Dooms team as well, and we're not doing nearly as much damage as we could. So yeah, this is an absolute loss. She's nowhere near as effective as she could be outside of a full Dooms lineup. So that was the unit. That was Doris. Let me just pull her up. Really good unit, specifically for the Dooms team, and I would suggest that you, if you do want to run a Dooms team or have an effective Dooms team to potentially get through Lost City or to counter PvP users using the Dooms team, definitely she's worth the investment, and I would suggest use that currency from the guild shop to get her as high as possible, up to at least 12 stars for that final passive to kick in. Just want to say thank you for watching. I do hope you have a good day, and if you are summoning or if you are trying to play the game, I do wish you many blessings throughout. Thank you.